ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमो ओम विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामी इति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। So here we find some very important instructions being taught by Lord Shiva in this episode. So what we are seeing is that out of natural attachment, Sati wants to visit her house. Even though she is aware that there is a misunderstanding or a tussle between her husband and her father. She has not visited her house because of that for a long time. But now there is a festivity going on. Daksha has arranged for a big yajna to be performed, a great sacrifice. And Sati is able to see that all the different invitees, the rishis, the brahmanas, the Devotees, they're all passing by near her house and talking with each other about the great sacrifice which has been organized by Daksha. They're all very nicely decorated and they're going there. And she also feels a natural desire to go to her house to attend these festivities. So, in spite of knowing that actually the circumstances are not very favorable, still Sati wants to visit. So, attachments are like that sometimes, even though we know it is not favorable for our Krishna consciousness, we may give up to such kind of attachments. When we are not very fixed in Krishna consciousness, actually we have to be very alert in our devotional service. When one has become fixed in devotional service, then these material circumstances, one does not have to consider. But when we are a sadhaka, we are trying to advance in Krishna consciousness, at that stage, we have to make discrimination. Pure devotee of the Lord has no discrimination. Who is enemy? Who is a friend? Who is envious? Who is relative? He has no such discrimination. Just like we find Narada, when he had liberated the sons of Daksha, Then Daksha became very angry. And in spite of his becoming angry, still Narada visited Daksha. And you can find that the same Daksha now, also he is in that mood because he is having misunderstanding with Lord Shiva. And that time also practically he was very angry at Narada. He criticized Narada and he told him that actually until and unless a person enters into material life, he cannot understand the dukkha of this material creation. So his renunciation will not be very right. You have never entered into grahastha life. So your renunciation is not as mature as when a person enters into material life and he sees the difficulties and he experiences, and then what realization he gets is far greater than the realization a person gets without entering. But actually it is not true. This is for second class people. First class intelligence means one does not have to experience. Just by hearing, one can renounce this material existence. By achieving a higher taste, raso varjam raso param drishtva nivartate. So one can give up lower taste when he has achieved higher taste. So Krishna consciousness does not require that you have to gradually come, you have to gradually feel the pains and pangs of this material miseries, and then only you will realize how material world is miserable. First class man can realize that simply by hearing from the Shastras. Krishna is saying, Dukhalyam ashashvatam. And just by hearing from the authorities, he can understand that yes, this material world is miserable. So, according to the Vedic literature, there are three classes of intelligence. First class intelligence is just by hearing, one understands, one realizes. Just like Prabhupada gives an example, he says, a thief, when he hears that actually stealing is bad, and if one steals and if one is caught, then he is penalized, he is punished. So if someone is very intelligent, he will not indulge in this. Understanding that in the past, there were so many people, they stole, they were penalized, they were put into jail. So just by hearing, one can give up that tendency. Second class intelligence means it does not strike him and he steals. And after he steals and he is penalized, he is beaten by the police, then he comes to his senses. Then he will understand, yes, it was correct, why did I steal? So he will not steal. And third class intelligence is, he hears, he undergoes, but still he never realizes. He has heard, he himself has undergone, but he cannot understand. Isn't it? So that is the third class intelligence. So second class intelligence is meant for people who do not understand the importance of devotional service. So for pure devotee who is an Uttamadhikari, there is no such difference. His perception of the world, his dealing with the world is on a different platform altogether. So Narada, understanding that I have delivered different people in the family of Daksha, unfortunately Daksha has not been delivered. Let me do something for that. And he knew that Daksha will be very angry. And Daksha was very angry. And left and right he chastised Narada. But Narada wanted that he spit out all his anger, and then he will be repentant. Then he will understand. So for Narada, it is understandable. For Lord Shiva, it is understandable. When he was in the arena of the sacrifice, so many unkind words were spoken by Daksha. But Lord Shiva was quiet. He did not say anything. He was able to drink the poison from that halahala, the great poison which came out from the churning of the ocean. So he was able to tolerate, he was able to digest that insult which was thrown at him by Daksha in that assembly. But is Sati on the same platform? Is Sati on the same platform? That is what Lord Shiva is advising. You see? So we can see that Narada, he knew that Daksha is envious and Daksha is very angry at him. But in spite of that, he still went to Daksha. And he was able to somehow or other benefit him in Krishna consciousness. He wanted to give his association even to Daksha. But here, we have to understand our level of progress in Krishna consciousness, and accordingly, we should have the dealings in this material world. So it is advised for us that when we meet a person who is advanced in spiritual understanding, we should associate with him. We should take advantage of his association. We will be able to gain something valuable in our Krishna conscious life. When we meet someone who is lower than us in advancement of Krishna consciousness, who is just beginning his devotional life, we should be merciful to him. See how much difference is there in the general tendency when people In the material world, how they meet is completely different. Their perception is different. This is as per the Shastras. This is how a Vaishnava should act. Generally what happens, when I see a person who is higher than us, we become envious. This is a general tendency. He has so many things I do not have. Isn't it? He has so many facilities I do not have. He is respected so much, I am not. So we become filled with resentment in our heart. See? But the real principle should be, when we see somebody advanced, we should be very happy. Not filled with enviousness and take advantage. Similarly, when we meet somebody who is a neophyte in Krishna consciousness, is just a beginner in Krishna consciousness, general tendency is to exploit. Somebody advanced, we become envious. Somebody lower than us, we try to exploit and show our greatness. I am great. What are you? Isn't it? We become puffed up. So you can see how much difference is there in Krishna consciousness. How, according to Vaishnava etiquettes, how we mingle with people. It's not that we show our scholarly to someone who is neophyte in Krishna consciousness. We try to impress him with our so-called scholarliness, or we exploit him. That is not the idea. The idea is we are compassionate. That somehow or other, by Krishna's grace, I have gained something and I would like to give something to this person. Isn't it? This like Prabhupada, he was very compassionate. I was reading just 2 days back, I was giving a class in VCM. So I was reading that verse where Uddhava is explaining about Lord Krishna, whom he is missing now, because the Lord has wound all his pastimes and he has gone back to his own abode, leaving Uddhava here. So in remembrance of the Lord, he is filled with ecstasy, remembering the different pastimes of the Lord. And at one point he says to Vidura, "Dear Vidura, whom else can I take shelter of?" He was so kind that the demon Putana came with malicious intent to kill Krishna, to feed him poison. But still, Krishna gave her the position of a dhatri, of a nurse, or like a mother in the spiritual world. So you tell me, is there anyone else whom I can take shelter of? There is no one more merciful than the Supreme Lord. So, here we can see Prabhupada is telling in the purport, malicious person should not be trusted. So this is for us, for sadhakas. We have to be very careful. Where we associate, whom we associate, even in Krishna consciousness. If someone is envious, if someone is having a disease of prajalpa, politics, diplomacy, and we are thinking, no, it does not matter, he is also devotee, let me associate with him. So we are not like that we can imbibe the poison and we can deliver him. I will also go down to hell and he will also go down to hell. This is our position. Krishna could suck that poison out of her life and she became liberated, she became purified. We are not in that position. So Lord Shiva is advising that he may be your relative, your father, he may be your father, but a person who is disturbed in his mind, very important, person who is disturbed in his mind cannot be trusted. Person who is malicious in his intent cannot be trusted. You see? So, there is one incident Prabhupada talks about how a great personality, Mahatma, even though somebody approached them with such kind of malicious intent, they can still somehow or other engage them in service of the Lord. In perfect question, perfect answers, there is a conversation between Prabhupada and Bob Cohen. So in that, Prabhupada is describing about this incident, that Lord Krishna is so kind, and a noble man is like that. A great person is like that. He does not take the bad side. He just takes the good side. So Krishna only took the good side of Putana, that somehow or other she has come to feed me like a mother. He did not take the bad side that she has come to feed me poison. Even though externally she is nicely dressed, as if she is like a goddess, but actually she is Asura from inside. Externally she is dressed like a goddess. Nevertheless, Krishna did not consider any such thing. Krishna just took the good side that somehow or other she has fed me like mother. And the Lord gave her that position. So Prabhupada, in that context, talks about that there was my God brother, Kunja Babu. He wanted to do business with my spiritual master. He wanted to use my spiritual master for his selfish gains. Because we know Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur was very popular. And somehow or other he wanted to use that popularity for his personal gains. You see? But still, Prabhupada says, my spiritual master did not take the bad side. He still thought that this person has come to serve in whatever capacity, and he gave him a chance. Similarly, in Srila Prabhupada's own life, we find he was such kind. Once when he was in Bombay, he received a phone call that one of his earliest disciple, he has come to Calcutta. And the temple president from Calcutta called up to Srila Prabhupada in Bombay that Prabhupada, such and such disciple of yours, he has come to Calcutta and he is smoking ganja. So Prabhupada told him, tell him, if he does not give that up, I will reject him as my disciple. So later on, the devotee in Bombay, he asked Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, you said that you will reject him. So you will be rejecting him? So then Prabhupada said, no, I cannot reject anyone. Even though he was angry at him, in order to somehow or other make him give up his nonsense habit, Prabhupada said that, but actually was very compassionate. We can see that, isn't it? So, such a great devotee of the Lord's, their dealings are on a different level altogether. So just like we can see that Lord Shiva was insulted, he was not bothered about that. He did not get. But he is saying, you are going, you will be so much hurt. And we find the reason for that. Later on, she is not able to digest that insult. So much so, she gives up her life. Isn't it? So, we cannot imitate a person on that higher level. So, when we meet an envious person, as it is advised here, we should be away from him. We cannot embrace. Otherwise, our consciousness will also become contaminated. You see? So for a sadhaka, it is very important to understand that if someone is envious, if someone has malicious intent, better to say him Hare Krishna and be away from such a person. Even though he may be also chanting, he may be also doing some kind of services, it is still better to associate with people who can enrich our life in Krishna consciousness and not people who can poison our spiritual life. See, it's very important to understand. The principle for us is accept things favorable, reject things unfavorable. So anything which is not favorable, we should reject that. And we should accept something which is favorable in our Krishna consciousness. So here we can see, it is said that even if somebody is a relative, somebody is a friend, but if he is disturbed in his mind, if he is angry, three things are mentioned here. He is looking at you with raised eyebrows, and there is anger in his eyes, and he is perturbed in his mind, don't associate with him. Isn't it? Otherwise, generally, it is said that even if enemy comes to our house, we should welcome even an enemy. That's a general principle. But we should not go to somebody who is inimical, because we will become disturbed. Isn't it? Just like we can see that sometimes when some devotee visits, let us say outstation devotees visit, or when we go to some places, you can make out very clearly you are wanted or you are not wanted. Isn't it? If the devotee will tell Prabhu, it's very difficult to arrange for prasadam, we are struggling here with few devotees, then you can immediately make out that you are unwanted guest there. Better not to go. And if the devotee may tell you that Prabhu, we may have 2 times prasadam, but I will take care that even though we cook here for 2 times, but I would like to take care that we'll be very happy if you can be here for some time. We'll get your association, and I will definitely see to it that even the afternoon prasadam, some devotees will try to arrange for you. Isn't it? You can make out very clearly. Or Prabhu, we don't have place in our ashram. Better you can stay outside somewhere. Isn't it? So, this is not how a devotee's perception should be. Devotees should be very welcoming to the other devotees. See, all these things are very important. Not that when somebody has come, we are looking, kahan se aa gaye? From where has he come, this fellow? Isn't it? Uninvited guest. And slowly we have to broaden our conception, not only for the devotees, even for the people, and give them Krishna consciousness, give them whatever we have with us in Krishna consciousness. This should be our attitude, because somehow or other, if the devotees are pleased, if they are kind upon us, it is a great benefit for us for advancing in Krishna consciousness. Isn't it? What we cannot achieve by our own endeavor, we can achieve by pleasing the devotees of the Lord. If the devotees are pleased, Krishna is certainly pleased. There is no doubt about it. Isn't it? So we'll stop at this. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.